one of the greatest players that's played, what he thinks about the next generation coming now to take over the crown maybe at some point, like the likes of Lamine Yamal. He's doing something even you or Messi has never done.
I believe that it's gonna be the best players for this new generation.
Lamine Yamal's rise has been nothing short of meteoric. Not many players can say that they made their Barcelona first team debut at just 15 years, 9 months and 16 days old. And that's because he is the youngest debutant for the club since 1922. But Yamal's more than that. He's a key player in Barcelona's team. He is the player, in fact. First name on the team sheet type vibe. That is the kind of aura this young superstar has. He was born in 2007 for crying out loud. I mean, am I reaching unk status here? Seriously. But hey, it's easy to see why even the greats, Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, think he has what it takes to fill the gap that they left behind and become football's newest star boy, winning the Ballon d'Or. But of course, being a La Masia wonderkid led to inevitable comparisons with Lionel Messi. Comparisons that can often ruin a player's career rather than make it. Because let's take a look. Both players made their debuts for Barcelona as teenagers. Both are left-footed magicians with the ability to glide past defenders as if they weren't there, and both have an uncanny vision on the field that makes them special. But as I said, this comparison comes with a heavy burden. I mean, Messi is probably the greatest player to ever play the game. And so for Yamal, the challenge isn't to become the next Messi, but to become the first Lamine Yamal. And if his early career is anything to go by, he's well on his way to doing just that. Thus, during his development, Barcelona made sure to carefully manage his growth. In spite of this, Lamine Yamal started his football career in a far darker place. It all began in the humble working-class neighbourhood of Rocafonda. It was a place where, on the weekends, children would play for Rocafonda's juvenile A team. However, Yamal would never step foot inside this place. Rather, he would kick a ball around on the concrete courts next door. This was a place where children who couldn't afford the club fees came to play. Graffiti surrounds the pitches, a piece of which being the number 304, which represents the local postcode 08304. Thus, it's a number that means so much to the young boys who grew up there. It's a symbol of identity and pride. This is why when Lamine Yamal scored his first goal for Barcelona, he celebrated by making a gesture in tribute to 304. It was a way for him to pay respects to the place that made him the boy he is today. Even since the early days, the world around Yamal, including his friends and coaches, noticed that there was something special about this young boy. His agility, ball control and vision on the pitch were light years ahead of everyone else in the streets of Rocafonda. And whilst it was common to see scouts on the lookout for promising talent, Yamal's story was different. He didn't take the usual route through smaller academies. You see, by the time he was just 7 years old, Yamal caught the attention of scouts at Barcelona. The story goes that one day, a Barca scout spotted him and was so impressed, he immediately called the club and insisted that they give Yamal a trial. And just like that, this younger boy's life was changed forever. After just one trial in 2014 at the age of 7, Yamal officially began training at the legendary La Masia. Now, this youth academy has a legacy like no other. It's produced legends like Lionel Messi, Xavi Hernandez and Andres Iniesta, possibly the top 3 biggest stars in Barcelona history. And so for a young Lamine Yamal, getting the chance to develop at this footballing fortress was a dream come true. However, joining La Masia was just the beginning of his journey. Yamal had the talent, but like every young footballer, he needed the right environment to nurture and polish that raw ability. Thus, like Messi, Barcelona went above and beyond to keep him happy and at the club. When he stayed with his father, who didn't own a car, it was often his youth coach, Jordi Font, who would pick up Yamal in the early hours of the morning, ensuring that he never missed a game. The Spanish Federation acted in a similar fashion, as they wasted no time giving him his international call-up. And despite Yamal's age, he's looked perfectly at home on the pitch, as during Euro 2024 he put his name in international headlines, announcing himself to the rest of the footballing world. But more on that in just a bit, because first, from the ages of 7 to 12, Lamine Yamal dominated 7-a-side football, scoring an astounding astounding 301 goals in 151 games for Barca, showcasing his versatility, playing as a striker, left winger, and even a fullback in certain formations. Therefore, the coaches could see that Yamal wasn't just a raw talent, he was a prodigy. But La Masia isn't just about nurturing talent, it's about instilling a footballing philosophy. Yamal wasn't just learning to play football, he was learning the Barcelona way. And without this, you have no chance of making it at the club. Luckily for him, it was something that came completely natural. But 7-a-side is one thing. The transition to 11-a-side for many youngsters can prove to be difficult, so much so that it can end their Barcelona careers before they even begin. And well, that clearly proved true for Yamal. I mean, his goal tally dropped to just 56 goals in 98 games. I mean, talk about washed. Okay, but seriously. In spite of Yamal's limited 11-a-side experience, the youth team decided to fast-track him past Cadet B, moving him straight to Cadet A under Ivan Carrasco. A risk? Yes. A success? Absolutely. That season, Lamine thrived as a false nine, balancing playmaking and scoring with ease. His performance in the Catalan Championship final was totally unforgettable, a display that made many expect him to continue with Cadet A for another season. But Barca had other plans. Yamal's rapid rise saw him promoted through the ranks faster than anyone could have imagined, even faster than Lionel Messi. By the age of 15, he was playing for Barcelona's under-19s team, and once again Yamal didn't disappoint. Under Oscar Lopez, he shone as a right winger, demanding the ball every game. Yamal linked up with teammates in ways that made the right wing a focal point of the attack. And so at just 16, he was not only La Masia's brightest star, but one of the most promising talents in all of football. And it was just the beginning. His development led Barcelona under-19s coach Oscar Lopez to tell first-team coach Xavi that he deserved a chance in the main squad, an opinion Xavi agreed with. Thus, in December 2022, Yamal began training with Barca's senior team. 4 months later, and history was made. At just 15 years, 9 months and 16 days, Lamine Yamal made his debut for FC Barcelona in a 4-0 win against Real Betis, coming on in the 83rd minute to replace Gavi. The moment was electric. Yamal stepped out onto the pitch at Camp Nou, and with the weight of history on his shoulders, he didn't flinch. He played with the same confidence, flair and fearlessness that defined his youth career, and even though he was the youngest player on the field, he didn't look out of place. In fact, he was thriving. Yamal even registered a shot on target, showing that his hunger to try and score wasn't bound to certain age brackets. Then, just weeks later, in May 2023, Yamal won his first title with Barcelona as the team won La Liga, but he didn't even get to take part in the celebrations. Why? Well, he was already on international duty with Spain, highlighting his remarkable journey. Then, before he knew it, Yamal was back with Barca, ready for his first start for the senior team on August 20th, 2023 in a 2-0 win over Cadiz. In his next start, Yamal was named man of the match after helping set up goals for Gavi and Robert Lewandowski in a thrilling 4-3 victory over Villarreal, where his stellar performances throughout the month earned him the inaugural Under-23 Player of the Month award for August. Soon after, Yamal made his Champions League debut in a 5-0 victory against Royal Antwerp. Then, because of all these incredible performances at such a young age being a total blessing for Barcelona, it was a no-brainer that they would extend his contract, taking it until 2026, with a €1 billion buyout clause included. To reward him further for this incredible achievement, just 2 days later Yamal made his first Champions League start against Porto, made his first appearance in El Clasico, coming on as a substitute in a 2-1 defeat at home to Real Madrid. All of this culminated in Yamal being awarded the inaugural Golden Boy, the youngest trophy, something presented to the youngest player nominated for the prestigious Golden Boy award. But get this, he couldn't attend the ceremony due to school. Regardless, Yamal started 2024 off with a bang. making history by scoring in a 2-0 win over Osasuna in the semi-final of the Supercopa de España, becoming the youngest player to score in the competition at just 16 years and 182 days old. He also played the final half an hour of the Supercopa final against Real Madrid just a few days later, marking another key milestone in his young career. January hadn't even ended yet, but Yamal continued to break records by scoring in the Copa del Rey quarter-final against Athletic Bilbao, and despite Barcelona eventually losing 4-2 after extra time, his goal made him the youngest scorer in the competition's history. The following month, Yamal scored his first ever brace in a thrilling 3-3 draw against Granada, a performance that earned him the Man of the Match award. At the end of the season, Barcelona and Yamal came in as runners-up in La Liga and Champions League quarter-finalists following a loss to PSG. But hey, let's just remind ourselves of all the remarkable records Lamine Yamal set that season after making 50 appearances across all competitions. So in La Liga, Yamal became the youngest starter for Barcelona, the youngest player to record an assist, the youngest player to score in La Liga, the youngest player to feature in El Clasico for Barcelona, the youngest player to score a brace in La Liga and the first to achieve this under the age of 17, and the youngest player to register over 10 goal contributions in La Liga. Then in the Champions League, Yamal became the second youngest player to feature in the competition behind Youssoufa Moukoko, the youngest player named in a starting lineup, and the youngest player to play in the knockout phase. But it was time to put all of that aside, as Lamine Yamal was ready to cook in the European Championships for Spain. In June 2024, he was selected in Spain's 26-man squad before making his debut a week later against Croatia, becoming the youngest player to feature in the competition. But that means nothing if he doesn't prove why he's on the pitch in the first place. Well, luckily for him, he very much did, as Yamal also became the youngest player to provide an assist in the tournament, setting up a simply perfect cross for Dani Carvajal's goal in Spain's 3-0 victory. Thus, Yamal didn't just make his debut, he made an impact. In the round of 16 during a match against Georgia, Yamal broke another record, becoming the youngest player to feature in the knockout phase of the Euros, surpassing Jude Bellingham's previous record. Once again, he contributed another assist in Spain's 4-1 victory. Then, another crucial assist in Spain's 2-1 quarter-final win against Germany, tying a Spanish record for 3 assists in a single edition of the European Championships, a feat previously achieved by Cesc Fabregas, David Silva and Dani Olmo. In the semi-final against France, Yamal scored Spain's first goal with a stunning strike from outside the penalty area, which was later awarded goal of the tournament. And yeah, I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record at this point, but guess what, guys? This made him the youngest goal scorer in European Championship history, just 4 days before his 17th birthday, breaking the previous record by over a year. And what better way to celebrate his 17th birthday than preparing to be crowned the youngest ever European champion, as he set out onto the pitch for the final against England the next day. Yamal assisted fellow winger and friend Nico Williams for Spain's first goal, becoming the youngest player to register a goal involvement in a major tournament final. He also tied the record for the most assists in a single European Championship tournament with 4. And following the big win, Lamine Yamal was quite rightfully awarded the Young Player of the tournament, as Spain's 2-1 victory over England in the final made him the youngest player to ever win the Euros. And so by now it became apparent that Yamal wasn't just another footballing teenager going through a purple patch. After all, there's been countless examples of those in the history of football. Alen Halilovic, Adnan Januzaj, Jermaine Pennant, Alexander Pato, the list could honestly go on. But with Yamal, he represents the next generation of talent. He's a player that embodies the modern game. He's fast, technical, and fearless. So what's next? Well, at the time of recording, only Erling Haaland and Harry Kane have more goal contributions than Lamine Yamal this season. Thus, one thing is clear. Lamine Yamal is a name we should get ready to hear for many, many years to come. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and don't forget to ding that notification bell. And whilst you wait for Yamal to win his inevitable Ballon d'Or, maybe watch this video on your screen right now.